everybody, welcome to the Daily Crossing. This is episode number 11.
Yes.
11. 11.
Yeah.
Great to have you, everybody. We're going to be covering a few things. We're going to let you know ahead of time. By the way, looking forward to keeping this conversation going with everybody.
Yes.
We're growing the channel.
Are we at 200?
I believe we
Are we?
got to 200.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so
That's good.
looking forward to it. Congratulations. We're going to look into
I like
this
it.
moment. I know, it's like, that was
high five. It was
not a
good.
good, it was weak,
It
weak,
was.
but,
Next time, pounds.
you know,
pounds.
humble, right. That was that a little girl? Is that what you said?
A little bit.
Right.
It's
yeah.
okay.
So,
I am a girl, though.
let's get back to this whole thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back to these moments, and we're gonna say, you know what I mean, when we get to those bigger numbers. You know,
Yes.
we're looking for
That's true.
your
100,000.
support, your blessing,
1,000.
and yeah, you know what I mean. It's like getting to from 200 to 1,000, from 1,000 to 2,500 to 5,000 to 10,000, and so on and so
It's
forth.
happening.
If we continue to bring value, good intentions, and just bring a normal conversation that most people really want to have. There's a few things that we want to cover that I believe. I mean, right now everybody's just buzzing about this whole development with the new videos playing out of the January 6th so-called Capitol riot, right? And stuff that happened there. Some of the stuff that we definitely need to be paying attention to, the developments of AI, right? Artificial intelligence, and some of the things that are happening with taxes, some of the stuff that's going on with the economy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna dive in right into these topics right now. Welcome everybody again. We want to thank you for
Yes.
being part of the journey.
Thank you.
Definitely want to hear some feedback from you in terms of some of the conversations that we already had. Anything that you would like to comment about, or any questions specifically about any areas, was business or just current social issues, which we want to discuss, and we believe that we want to do it from a different perspective, right? It's just the whole idea that don't want anything to sound extremely sophisticated about it. Just a normal conversation. This is a living room style type of conversation. We want to talk obviously about people, ideas, but some of these topics, and we know that some of them are not that easy to go over. A lot of emotions. Listen, Alexi, great to see you.
Yes, same here.
great having you here today. There was something about the 11 something. You'll hopefully explain that at the end,
Yes.
what that was. A lot of emotions went into this whole January 6th Capitol riot. That is the description. That's how it was actually labeled. Needless to say, after a whole year, right? After so many things, that's painting a one-sided perspective, one-sided picture about what took place in there. And by the way, it wasn't pretty. It didn't look well. I mean, no matter what anybody was, it's like, listen, what happened there was so mismanaged, right? And then you go into the whole idea of, a sitting president maybe, but participating into something that can potentially break one of the most sacred things about this country, which is the transition of power, right? The peaceful transition of power, right? Which is completely different than
You
what
always
happens in
highlight
most
that
places.
what was special about George Washington is that he gave it back.
1,000%.
Everybody's been giving it back ever since.
That has been, and by the way, it's a challenge. You know what I mean? Especially when you have a very good president, right? Everybody goes into the idea that, man, maybe we need a third term for this president. You know what I mean? It was so good, or it's doing so well, or this person is. And then you have some guys that you go like, can we cut it down to 2 years? Is there a way that we can, right?
That's right.
But this situation was not pretty. People died. You know what I mean? I know that Alexandria Ocasio is still saying that 10 people died in the riot. By the way, it was actually 4 people that died. Everybody was out of the Trump camp, right? So they like to put these numbers out there. By the way, if one person is already too many,
That's right.
right? But so we don't take that lightly. However, listen, watching these videos, have you had the chance to watch some of the updates, watching the videos?
Yeah.
What was your takeaway looking into this whole thing? This was a real big deal, man. It's like send the whole country.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like no matter who comes out with the videos, it's gonna be somebody has a goal as to why they're showing us what they're showing us, when they're deciding to show it to us. So I'm always I guess being wary of not to just take it for face value, because first of all, if they have the video now, they had it a year or 2 years ago whenever this incident happened.
Why is
So
it
I'm
coming out now?
why are they showing it to us now? What is the point of that? But I feel like both the video that we seen now and the video we seen originally, both of them don't tell the whole story if you look at either one of them. For example, I think that there were times and parts of what happened on January 6th that should have never happened. That was out of hand. People was doing way too much, climbing over fences, jumping through windows. It was too crazy. But that wasn't the only thing that happened. So obviously there was parts of it that wasn't that crazy. So I think to get the full story, you need to see both videos. And that's probably somewhere closer to the truth. But I think both the people who showed us what we're seeing now and the people who showed us what we were seeing before, they both have an agenda to portray a very particular side of the story, but both is only giving you half. That's how I feel about it.
So agreeing that the truth is somewhere in the middle is also agreeing that the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? Because I'm stealing things from you. I just realized.
That was painful. That was definitely painful.
Yeah.
And I am actually sitting
In the middle.
in the middle. Dealing with this. Let's go.
Oh man. So anyway, my whole point with that is that, for example, all we have been fed is it was an insurrection, bunch of people died, and it was a terrorist attack, and there's like memes galore with Alexandria, with AOC posting she survived from her house the riot that was in the whatever it is, So that was what was happening, and it was disgusting to see what happened. Like when you see that picture, that big picture that everybody keeps on sending, where the Capitol, it looks like a mess. You look at it and it's like, wow. This really sucks that it went down this way. And then you look at this side of the equation and you're seeing the insurrectionist guy is like walking around with police officers, like kind of like showing him around.
Getting a tour.
Basically, it looked like a field trip. So it's like, it totally is. Like, did I go to school? And it's like, I got a field trip of the Capitol. Well, I was wearing a thing on my head or whatever it is. So that is something that to me is like, okay, where is the truth? It's coming out right now. I tell you, I think why. Here's my conspiracy theory. It made it. There was a power of transition in the House, right? So there's somebody. The Speaker of the House is controlling the House. I believe that's the guy that made the tapes available to everybody else. So that also makes sense because it was controlled by one side. So one side wanted to feed one narrative, and the other side is like, well, we get a chance now that we have control of the House to have access to this too. So that's the way that I see it. In comparison, a lot of also riots happen. And by the way, those were like for real riots. Like stores lost a bunch of money. Things were burned. 19 people died. 17,000 people were arrested in the BLM George Floyd demonstrations, where states even came up with rules. Were saying if you're gonna riot here, like we're not gonna tolerate that. Several states did that. So you compare one to the other, and it's like, it's neither one of them is okay. No one should die. There should be a way for you to be able to exercise your freedom of speech in a way that is not harming anybody or any institution. But at the end of the day, everybody's pulling to the side that feeds the
So
narrative.
I just got one more thing that I'm thinking. So here's the thing. Let's say if I'm, whether I'm at a protest, I'm at school, whatever. If 90% of the time I'm acting civil, right? And then let's say the last 5 minutes I decide to go crazy. The news or whoever's reporting on this, they don't need to show me the time when I was being normal, because that's normal. You're supposed to be normal. So for them to show the times when everything was crazy, to me, that makes sense. I don't care about the time when everybody was peacefully protesting. No, I wouldn't know what happened when somebody kicked the windows in, kicked the doors down, because that's when something went out of hand. So I feel like even though there was more to the story, I feel like that's the part that we're interested in. Like, that's why we watch the news, is to find out, okay, what went wrong? What happened that wasn't supposed to happen? So for me, even though that wasn't, like I said, the whole story, I think there was nothing wrong with them showing only that part, because that's the part that something went wrong, and where it should have never happened. So I feel like the video that's coming out now is more of a problem than the one that we seen originally, because now they're trying to say, oh, there was nothing wrong with somebody deciding to kick down the door. No, there was still a problem. No one should have never did that. And to even imply that it wasn't as bad, like you were saying, one person dying is too many. So to say, oh, well, they made it seem like 100 people died, but it was only 10. Wait a minute, hold on. So you're trying to say that there was nothing wrong with somebody? No, I think that it was a bigger problem to show the video to make it seem as if everything was all good versus the video that we seen originally, where, because I remember the videos and I was like, whoa, this is not happening in the White House. No, there's no way this is happening in the White House. And then when I seen
Capitol Hill,
yeah,
White House.
you know, but that's what I'm saying, you know. So I was like, this is a problem. This should never been the case where this happened, right?
I get that. Here's the last thing that I would say is, people went to jail and they were prosecuted for things. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I wish I would have dug into that a little bit more before we actually sat down for this conversation. But I promise you that there was a way more TV going into whatever happened and way more coverage and whatever happened on the January 6th than what happened with the riots. Everybody was talking about the peaceful protest, and shit is on fire. So it's like, how is that being prosecuted when it's way more damage to multiple different buildings, a whole bunch of different things? And so is that okay?
So let me tell you what happens when you're sitting in the middle.
Where is the truth?
First of all, I mean, bad news would always sell bigger and faster.
Absolutely.
Or I mean, it's anything that is sensationalized, eventually somebody is going to eat that up faster, bigger than anything else. Bad news, difficult moments, things that went wrong, everybody's looking for that highlight. You know what I mean? And that's what people levitate to. But the fact of the matter, though, is that, and I appreciate the bumper sticker, you know what I mean, the truth is somewhere in the middle. The truth is the truth. It's not in the middle. If it's in the middle, it's not the truth. The truth has to be leaning one way because that would be the equivalent of putting, you know, right and wrong at the same level. If we're saying that it's right in the middle, it doesn't. It never does. That's not the way to, not even to approach a situation like this. Here's the thing that you have to consider. The fact of the matter is that what you're seeing is that there are some people that forget about the whole idea of giving a tour. Or there were actually some people that manipulated the moment. There are people that go into these activities and they play the role of the anarchist, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The anarchy is always expected on moments like this, but if it's not going in that direction and you wanted to get that as an end result, then you actually send some people to make that happen. The issue is not so much, hey, it was peaceful during a window of time and then it just get out of hand because these things were meant to get. The real issue is the following, right? I agree with you in terms of, you know, the video not coming out represents an agenda. The video coming out right now also represents an agenda, right? Showing the way things played out. For me, the issue is if I wanna control what would potentially happen in there, because you know very well that 10 people, nobody's gonna do something stupid, right? 100 people, it gets a little louder. Once you start putting 500, 1,000 people into it, then you get kicked out of places. You know what I mean? Yeah, because you're too loud, right? And so when somebody's directing traffic, when somebody has been, when it has been announced, hey, this can potentially, when it was already even essentially known by the FBI that this can potentially go wrong. And now that we know the under the instructions or no instructions came out of Capitol Hill Police, right? As a matter of fact, they were told to stand down. You know what I mean? So that, to me, you know, the things that I'm concerned about is whoever was given directions about, okay, yeah, let them in, move them around. I'm not concerned about those 3 guys that walked in and at some point, like you're saying, they looked like they were just looking at nice pictures, right? And they, oh, wow, that's a big picture.
Look at the book.
Yeah, look at the book, right? That looks old. No, I'm not concerned about that guy. I'm concerned about the guy saying, come on. Come in.
Correct.
Because there was obviously the people that were doing those things, they definitely had an agenda, right? And then the fact that at some point is people were getting enough of a heads up to be able to know that, hey, something is about to go wrong. And the people responsible of those things did nothing about it. The fact that there was a lot of footage, right? I mean, that was taken out of this, I think they're talking about, 36,000 hours
close to 40,000.
Close to 40,000.
That's a lot of.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
It should release the whole thing.
And obviously, we know that the House was under the control of Democrats, right? This is the narrative that they wanted to push.
Of course.
Right? There was 100% chaotic, that it was caused by Trump supporters, which everybody that was there was question mark. Everybody was there being the majority a Trump supporter, right? There's a possibility of other people that were there. They were questionable characters to instigate, to make this happen. But in addition to that, though, for me, what's significant about this is the fact that this is something that literally has been labeled as, and right now is being labeled against a man who was a former president who wants to run for president again. It's in the process of running president, and he's being told, you almost caused a peaceful transition of power to the country.
Yeah.
When in reality, again, it's the whole thing by not being so clean cut, because now we're seeing, and this is just the beginning of a lot of information that's going to come out. But I agree with you on the sense that, listen, it doesn't matter how nice it actually started, it really got out of hand.
Yeah.
And it got out of hand, but to be quite honest with you, it would be almost impossible to control it. It would be almost impossible to have such an environment with that many people who is very passionate about the whole thing that's taking place, and to pretend that it wasn't going to go wrong. You know what I mean? And so...
And I agree with all of that stuff. What I'm saying is, that, again, and it goes back to media. I don't have
Correct.
a problem with one side or the next. I have a problem with the way that media is pretending the thing.
But
It's being presented.
But I think everybody knows by now that they're not. It's no longer journalism. It's an opinion. No different than me giving an opinion right now.
Yeah, by the way,
something.
this is all based on opinion.
Yeah,
Like,
this is
There's
Yes,
no
but and don't get me wrong, 100% they're trying to push an agenda.
Yeah.
But some facts are facts. If somebody, I don't care what the reason was, whether you were an instigator, whether you were trying to make people hate Trump, if somebody decides to kick a door down, the fact is the door still got kicked down. So even if I only showed you that piece of it, it should have never happened. So then now I can use that as leverage.
So I have a question for you. What do you think about... I think it was San Francisco or one of those Los Angeles, something like that. Yeah. That actually I don't know if that's still the case right now, but if somebody went looting, if they went below $1,500, they could literally go take stuff out of the shelves of the store, walk away, and they wouldn't be prosecuted. What do you think about that?
So what I believe is this. All looting is an issue, regardless of what the situation is. Now, for the person who said, "Oh, but you told me I could do up to 1,500," and then now you found a way to finagle it to where it looked like I did more. It doesn't matter. You were still doing something wrong, and I think that's where we get messed up. Where at the end of the day, regardless of what their reasoning was to show this clip, the clip still happened for them to show, which means somebody was in the wrong. Somebody should be taking accountability for it. Now, is the right person going to be held accountable? Probably not. Was there instigators? More than likely. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't give that person who's against you power by even putting yourself in that position.
But that is the
to have
political
them,
game.
yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, to me, that has always been the argument with somebody like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a business guy. I'm going to push around. I'm going to make you feel. I'm going to get these results right now. I'm going to. But in politics, you have to build alliances, and you truly have to deal with. You have to sleep with the enemy, literally, right, to be able to get certain things done. Now, what's actually happening right now? We're witnessing a couple of people that are a complete phenomenon, man. It's not just Trump. I'm also looking at even Ron DeSantis. You know what I mean? Ron DeSantis is our governor is somebody that has no issues pushing back and fighting back, and he has no problem making you his enemy because he knows the system well enough to know that it's extremely important to be able to control the narrative in one end,
Yes.
and to know going into the whole situation that somebody's going to try to manipulate you and the narrative
Yes.
together,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So what happened there is you had a group of people that really knew how to manipulate the situation.
Yeah, I get you.
It's a whole different game.
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? This is
definitely,
not.
I
By
agree.
the way, even the situation that you're describing in San Francisco, a store owner, what he ended up doing is he ended up pricing everything $1,501 because that extra $1 will give you
Take
prosecution.
anything, yes, yes,
And by
yes.
the time you went to the register,
You get a voucher.
you'll
for
get a
$1,500.
discount for
Yeah.
whatever the real price was going to be.
Got you.
But
Yes.
if you stole that, it was marked up.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're gonna get it again.
He
You know,
gets it. He
it's
gets it.
exactly
Yes,
that
yes,
is my
yes.
point. My point is, a moment like that
Yeah.
for it was
you shouldn't
it
have
was
to get it.
extremely naive for Donald Trump not to believe that something like that was gonna happen,
Correct.
or that they were not gonna use it against it,
Yep.
or that the whole narrative. I will tell you people that I have an issue with, like the whole Liz Cheney situation, the daughter of a former vice president who made it so personal that probably knowing some of these things went ahead with a narrative that it was so one-sided, so much for because I don't mind the accountability.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
The riot period was run at whatever point somebody decided to light a match or do something stupid. The question is, again, we really don't know who started it,
I agree.
who did
I
it,
agree,
who
yeah.
pulled the trigger. That doesn't make it any less wrong. It's wrong. What happened there is completely wrong. It should have never happened here. But it's a whole different level of a game.
No, and-
Is it, it was,
I agree.
I
is it a
gotta
terror
tell you,
attack?
man,
Is
I'm
it a
gonna tell
terror
you.
attack?
You know,
No, I wouldn't
Is
say
it
that.
Pearl Harbor?
No.
Is it because that's what was labeled?
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. No, no.
So
no. I get you.
that's the thing.
But
It's
but
like-
the people at that level, they should know. You got to be more careful than that. You gotta understand. Like you said,
That's
is a
what I
different
told a
level
lot of
game.
friends. The fact that we
It's
went
like-
into election night and you didn't think that some funny stuff was going to be happening,
Yeah.
you're naive.
Yeah.
You were just born yesterday. If you actually believe that oh no, that only happens in other countries. No,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happens
correct.
everywhere. That happens everywhere. Anyone is able to get away with it. So this is one of those things that just didn't look pretty. And it's being manipulated. Now the question is, so now you have another
Yeah.
group controlling
Yeah.
the House, right?
Yes.
And obviously they're gonna say, "Oh, that's you took it that far. Let me show you what we're gonna do
I
with
get
this
you.
baby,
Yeah, yeah.
right?" So now is a little bit of payback time. These things, to be quite honest with you, by the time we get to election time, I think that Trump is not gonna look bad at all. But after the whole thing, knowing that every step of the way, there's not a single statement, and they're still going at it. They're
Yeah.
saying that he will potentially be liable now. They can potentially sue him for
I
certain
wonder
things.
it was that was one of those 16 votes that they had to they slipped it in there. You know, it's
all
like,
I'm telling
release
you
that
is,
tape.
as a person, all I'm telling you is, as a person that loves this country, I wish something like that will never happen. You know what I mean? It's-
100%.
I never expected to see something like
Yeah.
that. I hope we never see it again.
Correct.
But I hope the people responsible to keep these places safe, especially in times like this, will also do their jobs.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people neglected their duties.
Yeah.
And they didn't do what they were supposed to
Correct,
protect the
correct.
facility,
I
to
agree.
protect the life of the people. And so there's a lot of blame and responsibility to go around.
Mm-hmm.
But make no mistake about it, they're manipulating right now.
Yeah.
The truth is being pushed around, but the truth is there. The
Yeah.
fact of the matter is that it's just a different game, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just playing at a
And
whole different level.
Well, I'm interested to see because you said 36,000 hours. There might be more videos that's gonna come out
There's
later.
a
you
lot
know?
of stuff.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that they're saying that
It's gonna be like a whole other COVID 4 years later.
I mean, when
talking
you
about-
combine it,
Oh no!
when somebody says,
Footage.
well, how many years will it take for 36 hours? Listen, when you're talking about
Yeah.
this many cameras, right?
Yeah.
And you start combining the amount of footage that's coming in from different directions, and then you start adding up what's coming out of this camera, what's coming out of the other place. That's when
Yeah.
you see, numbers that are completely out of control. But this was definitely not a good moment
Yeah,
for the
not at
country.
all. Not at all.
Hope never to see it again. But I hope that more than anything else, if there's somebody that play games at a whole different, and it's coming out at every level, man. It's like right now, the whole thing with COVID, Fauci. I mean, there's so much that's coming out. It's just a simple reminder of how dirty this whole politic game
Yeah.
can really get. You know, what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
people get dragged into it. But anyway, with that being said, guys, we've been having an interesting conversation lately
Yeah.
about some. I think you're having a few nightmares here and
Yeah,
there.
Yeah,
So
I think
share
they
with
in my
us
head.
this whole
Yeah.
artificial intelligence conversations that will
The robots
Yeah.
are
what do we
coming.
need to be paying
Don't
attention
don't
to,
be
man?
so it's so funny you say that because as we're talking about the videos that we seen, we don't even know if they're real videos nowadays. You know, to be honest, you know, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm taller, younger, just so you know, just whatever you're watching right now.
there's a filter. There's a filter that you got. All right, it makes them
This look is for wisdom.
Yes,
I mean, that's
yes,
what-
yes.
just to look-
You know,
it can
but
look
no,
wise.
there's a number of things. You want me to go through all of them?
Yeah,
So there's a
man.
number of things that everybody just really needs to pay attention to, and I would say for two reasons. Number one, because you'll be surprised of how many of these things that are happening now that no one's never even heard of. They don't even know that this is technology that we
Correct.
have access to.
Right now.
Yeah, right now, right? So I'll just
It's
go
not
through
the
them.
future.
Yeah, it's not the future. No, these are things that are trending, you know, according to Forbes, right? That are the 10 scariest techs you need to know about that not everybody knows about. Number one is the AI singularity. If you never heard of this, but this is they say it's hypothetical. It's not hypothetical. It's gonna happen. The point where AI becomes smarter than humans. I think that's already happening.
We already have.
Yeah. Yeah, shoot. Most people's phone is smarter than them, just so you know, right? Next one is editable humans. That's the technology to be able to
Not
change.
edible. I'm gonna bite you.
No,
It's not edible arrangements.
No, editable, right?
Editable.
Yeah,
Okay,
editable,
just
right?
right.
You can edit.
Just so anybody
Yes.
is going, what? We're gonna be eating people? soon?"
Yep. So
Yes,
that's
stop
where
it.
you can change genes in plants or in humans. So like you can say, oh, I want my baby to have blue eyes. I want to make sure that my kid is going to come out 7 feet
That's
tall.
happening with
No,
it,
that's what I'm
like
saying.
Franken apples. that
Yeah,
we're
that's what I'm
eating.
saying. No, it's happening already. This is not future stuff, guys. These are things that we're doing now. Like you can get a clone of your pet. You know that, right? You can get a clone of your pet. I think it's like last time I checked, it was a couple $1 million, but you can get one. Yeah. Like seriously,
I'm
it's
killed to have
ridiculous.
my boy again,
You know,
just
so
so you
they have these things. Next is merging humans with machines. Right, this is things that we're able to do already. Obviously, we're doing it on a smaller scale with like prosthetics, you know. But it's gonna go further.
Some
You're gonna-
remarkable advancements. When
yeah,
it comes to
yeah.
prosthetics.
It's going to be
Incredible
crazy,
stuff.
right? Next, 3D printing, the ability to print just about anything.
That has been around for a while.
Yeah.
That's definitely not new.
Organs, yeah.
That's definitely not new. That's been around
I need
for
to
a
get
while.
one. That's what I need to get. Me a 3D printer, right?
What do you need? A new leg? You need a new leg or something?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna print with, it, but I'm gonna get one, right?
Very good the other day.
Yes, right. Next one is quantum computing, right? That is where we have computers that are 1 trillion times more powerful than the computers we have now. They already have quantum computers now. It's just that this is not something that is available to everybody,
Correct.
you know, but they already have those. Next is autonomous smart robots, right, where they can make their own decisions. Once again, this is something we
That's
have
already out
now.
there.
I
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
seen a Tesla. This was in New York.
Correct.
This was in New York, and I was driving behind a Tesla one time. I was like, "What is this guy doing?" He pulls over on the side of the road. Drive by him. No one's in the car. This is on the highway in New York. And this was like a year ago. I'm like, oh wow. So I can imagine what they could do, and that's what we have available now. Killer drones, right? Where they can they have the ability to identify and track and destroy targets, not people, targets, right? Right. So killer drones, digital surveillance. We can track nearly everything. And then the last two is nanobots, which is tiny robots that can enter your bloodstream. We already have those as well. And then deep fakes in the metaverse. That's where you can create images and videos of anyone, and then you can actually use this to support different agendas. And to me, that last one is the biggest one that I'm paying attention to for two reasons. Number one, now you can have a person who really doesn't know anything but could pretend to be the smartest person in the world, because literally they have access to all information everywhere. And it's like to be able to cheat on a test now is too easy. It's too easy, right? And then the second one, I literally just seen a video where I thought it was a real video. And it was of Bill Gates, where he was in an interview and just going off on the person. I thought it was real. Come to find out, it was made from AI, where it looks like him, it sounds like him. They were actually able to use a real interview, but change up the words, but using his real voice to where if you didn't dive deeper into it, you would have thought it was a real interview.
Real voice, real image, real
and this was of Bill Gates. So then, what if they did that with anybody?
So for the first time, you can literally say, "Do not believe your lying eyes," because you don't know what the hell you're looking at.
Yeah, you watching a video of Putin talking about something crazy, like, oh, that wasn't even real. So that's, of all of them, the one that I think we got to pay attention to.
Is that the one that's giving you nightmares?
Yeah, yes, 100%, 100%. Because now I don't even know what's real or not, because that video that I seen was trending on social media. Everybody was commenting on it, and it was only because I was smart enough to let me go a little deeper, and I found the real interview.
Correct.
And that's when I realized, wait a minute, this is fake. But if I wouldn't have went deeper, I would have just assumed that was a clip, a real clip from the interview, which
like
it wasn't. Yeah, it was a short. Yes.
We spent 20 minutes, 30 minutes just talking about how easy it is to manipulate information.
Yeah.
Coming out of regular channels.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Imagine if you can make it look like
how
it's
do you
real.
handle, all this stuff? Because it's going to become so easy to get you to see,
Photoshop
to think,
real life.
like, do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, where do we go with this thing without having nightmares? You know what I mean? Because to be quite honest with you, just going through the whole, and like you're saying, this is not something that's going to happen one day. It's happening right now.
Yes.
So where does it take us? Does it take us to don't trust anything? There's no real safety. There's no real security. There's no real. Obviously, we're transitioning right now into. And that has been the areas of technology, right? Or the technology, the way technology ended up progressing last 70 years, right? And then you go into last 50 years, right? And then the quantum leap adjustment that happened in the last 20 years, right? Mm-hmm. And so now we're getting to a point where we're saying, okay, there's going to be some people that are literally being born into such a different reality. What is the perception of life, though? You know what I mean? Like, what is the perception? Where are you going to get it from? Who remembers the movie WALL-E?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that movie.
Are we heading there? Is that,
no, definitely. 100%. 100%. Yes, that is going to happen. Yes, people are going to...
WALL-E.
Yes, 100%.
I mean...
movie chairs.
Yep.
Everybody's on the
got a TV. They don't know what's going on.
Let me get my
TV
drink.
and they're just drinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And wow, that's
I think so. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow, though. I think the
But my question is, why? Why do you think it wouldn't happen? Like if you have to... Listen, you always got to think about the discrepancies between the technology that we have in certain countries and the technology that doesn't even exist in certain countries because they are so poor and they're so limited. But I will give you an example that I was extremely impressed about how that actually happened. So United States and most of European countries went through the process of hardwire. Mm-hmm. You have to, set up tunnels and run all this incredible amount of wire, including, something as simple as your cell phone. Your telephone at home, right? Yes. And then just like that, the wireless environment comes in, right, for telephones. Yeah. Believe it or not, countries like United States actually struggle a lot more with the wireless environment than somewhere in South America that never had any wires running anywhere, and they just say, hey, you know what? Lucky you. You're just going wireless from day one, and that alone. So when you look at technology like this, believe it or not, sometimes is hopefully we're gonna resist some of these things, but by the time it's out, by the time it's deployed, it's going to different places that would probably benefit even more faster. You know what I mean? When it comes to...
They'll be able to leverage it?
Yeah, I agree.
I think it could be something very similar about that. I'm always very concerned about this idea of nanotechnology, right? Because I like to come to the conclusion, and I think that it's safe to come to the conclusion, or at least it would be a reasonable conclusion to believe that when you have all these vaccine happy, crazy people, like you don't know what the hell they put into your system.
I think they're definitely using.
I think the people are becoming more and more trackable by the minute.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. When you search for something, and
those shoes follow you
and
everywhere.
then it shows up, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Now, have you ever had a situation where you thought about something?
Yes.
Yes, all the time.
Yes.
It's not that you're already addressing it. You were just thinking about it, And next thing you know, it's like Facebook is giving you
Yeah.
and then you go to Instagram and it's like, I don't remember
Talking
doing the
about it
search.
out loud.
I just, I didn't even say anything. I was
Yeah.
just thinking about it.
Yep, that happens.
Who knows? Maybe you
Google knows. They know. But yes, I think they're doing all of this now, and it's what's crazy. And like I said, the biggest thing is I think people need to be aware of it because you can't stop technology. If you're trying to stop it, it's going to be ridiculous. But there are going to be a lot of opportunities for people to be ahead of the curve, use it for their advantage, and making money. Start, knowing what business to get into because you got to know if your business is going to disappear because of AI.
People right now that are using Chat GPT even to pick stocks and stuff like that. So it's like,
we don't have enough data on that to see how many of them are getting it right and how many times it's missing the target and things like that. My issue here,
but it evolves by the minute. Also it's
definitely something to pay attention to, and definitely something that will at some point, it's gonna make you lose some sleep because this is not.
I'm
This
gonna
can
embrace
get
it.
another
very
video of
scary.
Alexi.
I'm gonna embrace
You
it.
gotta welcome though. You gotta welcome the whole process. And you're gonna say, you know what I mean? Is the thing about, but it challenges a lot of what we understand from the perspective of humanity, belief systems. A lot of stuff is gonna be challenged.
So this is my question. Here's my question.
Go ahead.
So if they have the technology, right,
Correct.
to where you can put a chip inside you, and then like you can change things within your body, or like the Matrix, you can start. Would you get it?
I don't know that I will look for it, but I also don't think that I would refuse it.
Okay.
To
me, I'm like, yes, 100%.
They're like, sign me up. I don't know what I would intentionally saying. Okay, where are they giving those things away?
I need to work out the bugs first.
Because the thing about life, though, you know what I mean, is that when there's something connected to the idea that life ends, right? There's something beautiful about that concept that allows you to say, hey, let me make it count. Let me make it. You know what I mean? So one of those things when you start thinking in terms of technology where you can be around forever, right? And then what does forever means? You know what I mean? Is it 100 years, 200 years? What does it mean in terms of, the sustainability of, forget about just the sustainability of the planet. It's like your mental, at some point, aren't you start saying, I just had enough of this whole thing. I think, it's got to be something that's going to keep you fully engaged. And maybe there is that, because the fact of the matter is that when everybody's getting to the later years, right? We were just watching the other day Warren Buffett, right, saying, I will gladly trade a very large portion of my wealth for more time, for better health, for additional, you know what I mean? Just to
He's waiting for it.
I think he's putting some money into this thing right now. But but I don't know if it's going to be ready. I think that some people are very. Then again, there's so many conspiracy theories about this. Some people never died. What they do is they switch over from. I don't want to go into that. Would be a crazy conversation.
That would be.
So this. It's absolutely very scary.
Yeah, it is. So, and because it's real. Like I said, this is not a theory. Yeah. This is not future. Happening. This is now. Yeah.
Thank God most of us walking around there, we don't even pay attention to the stuff. So you don't have to go to sleep. Guys, 311,000 jobs that thank God, any of the nanotechnology or any of the current technology hasn't been able to take away. That was actually added for the month of February, 311 new thousand jobs. It's not bad, still falling short of expectations because our GDP for this year is only projected to be 1%. That's a significant problem because this is literally, it's like going back to the blueprint of the Obama years, right? Yeah. Where the economy never grew past 1%, right? Trump comes in, right? And it grows the economy. I think that it was 3.5%. Maybe 4%. I don't have the exact number, but definitely went way beyond when everybody was being. Even President Obama himself said, "What do you think? Just because you're saying that you're going to grow the economy or whatever is going to happen automatically?" Well, guess what? It happened, right? And so, but policies do have consequences. We went right back to 1%. However, just even adding this many jobs, and inflation went down to somewhere around 6.4% right now, right? The problem is that, again, cost of food actually increased 7.9%, meaning the cost of going to the supermarket it still is growing. It's not going to, as a matter of fact, from year to year, it's still an overall 11.3%, again, faster than anybody else. And the average monthly living expenses for a single person in the United States today is over $3,000. It's about $3,200, give or take, right? Roughly. 39,000, you can round it up to $40,000 a year, right? The average cost of a family is over $7,000. So now you take that on a yearly basis, that's taking you over $85,000 for the year. Can I ask you a question? How many people, as a couple, that you know right now, making over $85,000 just to keep up with the cost?
I would say of everybody I know, half. Half the people I know make over that, but the other half don't.
Okay, so we know that there's some significant struggles taking place. In addition to that, we're making some other changes, right?
In Orlando, with the economy, most of the economy is hotels, Disney, fast food, restaurant, and stuff like that. It's very difficult to get to over $85,000.
The average
in a hotel
salary in Orlando,
it's like what, 35, 40?
About $38,000, which even compared to other places is still is not the worst case scenario. You know what I mean?
So here's my big question. With these 311,000 new jobs, are these jobs that would allow somebody to make over the 80,000 if it was two people, or are these jobs that
meaning
are paying,
what sectors or
or is
right now?
You know, because that makes a big difference.
But think about the sectors that are actually letting go of people right now. You know what I mean? Which is technology, banking. You know, usually the sectors that will pay more. So what that means is that what's hiring right now is entry level, lower paid. I mean, but this is a significant problem with the economy is not going to be growing fast enough, because that means that we're staying in a recession longer, right? Things are going to get complicated even more potential layoff. And I think you have some news about taxes, don't you?
Yeah, well, before we get there, though, to slow down inflation, unemployment has to go up.
Correct.
There was an exchange between Senator Kennedy and Jerome Powell, I think.
Correct.
And he said that in order for inflation to go back down to 2.2%, unemployment has to go up to 10%.
Correct.
So the fact that this number of jobs was added, is there something to celebrate, or it's just kicking the can down the road and for people to be a little bit more concerned? Like, how do you...
But the average, right, in a month-to-month, anything at this moment, right, anything below 350 to 500,000 new jobs being added, when you consider the amount of people that were let go, right, and the people that just at some point they just stopped working, even a number like that looks good, it still falls below anything that goes below 300,000. It's a real problem in terms of people coming back to work, but that is one of the tools that the feds will use, which is to trigger unemployment. And I know that people, struggle with that idea. Like, what do you mean they're going to trigger unemployment? It has to be done because what they're trying to do. I
literally fought with my mom like 3-4 months ago because she read that, and I'm like, Mom, that makes no. And then I'm digging more into it, and then these guys have that conversation. I'm like, I gotta go back and tell my mom that she was right.
Did you apologize?
I will. At some point, let me work up to it. Like, what are you talking about?
The fact of the matter is that they gotta trigger that because again, when there's a lot of money flowing, right, and there's a lot of borrowing taking place, and there's a lot of people. What they're trying to chop down is the borrowing capability, and in order to do that, they got to make sure that your income is affected somewhere somehow, because that's what gives you borrowing power. And so, but it's not pretty to know that, especially for a lot of people that get laid off, right? To say, you mean this is intentionally done? They play around with these things. It's a number. It's just a number.
By the way, this was intentionally done with the free checks that we got during COVID.
I mean, that's
all of the unemployment, all of
paying for those things.
All of it wasn't free. We're paying it with inflation.
1,000%. And it's also the other reason why, for me, guys, when I think about things like this, I have a hard time. And I think this will be a moment where I'm going to even highlight this book about crucial conversations. Yeah. I have a hard time as an immigrant, as a person that came here, knowing that most people that were born into this country, seeing how many people come here looking for that American dream, and how many people come here looking for the possibility of one day I want to have my own business, one day I'm going to become this big entrepreneur, one day I'm going to. You look at these things going on and how everything is playing from a employee perspective. I'm not saying that you don't have challenges as a business owner, right? You still, there's a game for those guys too, you know what I mean? Except for the fact that you can control a few things. You can control your income. You can control your time. You can make adjustments to your business. You can see if it can actually evolve. You're not just waiting for somebody to say, hey, next week, don't come here. We don't need you no more. That's a whole different ball game. Right. I don't understand how everybody, for me, even if you're just gaining experience, if you're gaining confidence, if you're putting yourself through the process of saying, man, you know, one day I want to have my own business, but I don't feel my communication skills is not there yet, you know what I mean? Or I'm not that great with people. I would like to improve those areas. Even if it's just, it's okay for somebody to go through that process. Yeah. Except for, you know, forever staying there. I think, by the way, not everybody's going to be cut out to be an entrepreneur. But I think that these are the times where people should be willing to challenge themselves just a little more. Try it. What do you got to lose? You'll know how to go back to a job because you already know how to find one, right? So
So here's where I'm at, and like for the person that is listening to us, here's what I'm thinking is we have been like again, the free checks were the free checks. That came out, the unemployment, the people that melted, the people that really needed it, all the PPP loans that went out, all of that money was injected into it. We're paying for it now. We have to come to terms and we have to have the crucial conversation in first the reality that right now we need to all go like legit on a diet, you know, on a diet of making sure that you're cutting like what the conversation that we had in the past podcast was what is it? Don't go shopping for anything expensive if you don't need to. You know, if you have to get a car in order for you to be able to move around, absolutely do, but don't go buy a Lambo. You know, type of thing. The second thing is increase your level of skills. You know, so go on a diet from buying expensive stuff. The second thing is increase your level of skills. Learn something new, maybe connected to AI, you know, maybe connected to different things or in an industry that you cannot be replaced, and then update your resume, you know. And I'm always for go try to become an entrepreneur or connect to a really good entrepreneur where you actually have the opportunity to add value to a business so that you can grow. So that's where I would go with that. Piggybacking into it, then there's the tax situation, which there was just a budget.
Taxes are going down? Is that
no, absolutely not. They're going up. To top it off. By the way, they're only going up for the top, whatever, that whole AOC wearing the tax the rich outfit. Biden wants to support it. So here's what's going to happen. It says anybody making $400,000 or more as a single or $450,000 as a family, it's going to go up from 37% to 39.6%. Medicare is going up from 3.8% to now 5%. So if you add both of these two things, basically top of the federal estate tax, I mean, at a $400,000 income, you are paying 44.6% in taxes. That's if you live in a state like Florida, where we don't pay state and city. If you're in a city like California, it's 57.9%. And if you're in New York, that's where you came in. Yeah. That's where you came in. It's 59. I'm moving to Cuba. Don't do that. 59.4%. In addition to that, they're increasing corporate tax and they're trying to close a loophole, which I want to poke your brain about that, see what you think about it. But it says they're going to increase the corporate tax from 21% to 28%. Correct. So who does that affects, by the way, the small business owner. You know, the small business owner is the guy that's making $400,000.
The person who doesn't have the same quality of accountants and attorneys is the one that's going to suffer. Because at the end of the day, the problem with assistant is that we have so many loopholes and so many ways for somebody to play with this percentages.
Yeah, but who's the guy that cannot afford the accountant?
But the problem is, again, the one that gets affected. So let me give you.
They're saying tax the rich.
Let me give you a scenario.
It's the small business owner that gets screwed.
Forget about the small business owner that's going to get hurt. That's one component. You are going to get taxed. You are going to get taxed. You are going. So let's say that, and let me use this very simple example because I know that everybody here has no issue with Mexican tacos, right? So let's say that I actually own a nice taco truck, right? And I'm putting it out there. for $1.
Got it.
Making $400,000. I'm actually making $425,000. I'm netting that. I'm doing well. You know what I mean? My wife and I, we working very.
It's a lot of tacos.
Lot of tacos, right? It's a line of people waiting for the tacos.
Yes.
Now I know that my taxes are gonna go up. How much more?
6%.
Yeah.
Basically.
So, congratulations, your taxes just went from $1 to $1.25.
Yep.
Got it.
Right.
Yep.
And that's how it works. That's how it works. This whole idea that we
The way
gonna
we lived
tax
it. Our taco place went to $1.25.
By the way, just so you know, we
Now it's
just experienced that.
$1.50.
We have dollar tacos here right now. $1.25 is putting a real dent into the budget. You know what I mean? A lot of pressure. That's how it works.
Yeah.
I don't know how to help a lot of these politicians that never owned a business.
Yeah.
Never had a real job. And they really don't get affected by these things. You know what I mean? And by not knowing how to do this thing. So there was so many conversations about a flat tax. So there was so many conversations about removing some of these loopholes. There was so many conversations about what is the acceptable percentage that everybody should be paying
They're
for
saying-
across the board.
Anybody making $100 million needs to pay 25% tax no matter what.
I think that
That's what they say in the bill.
And see, my point is, it depends on what are you doing with $100 million that you made. For me, it really boils down to, if you're taking $100 million and you're gonna go out there and creating additional jobs, I don't even understand why we're taxing you. I really, because you know what, his income is gonna be taxed, his spending is gonna be taxed, and you are the one who's generating that source of cash flow. Why are we taxing you? We need you desperately. We need you badly. I don't even have an issue with a guy that took $100 million and went and bought something extremely expensive, because, again, that all goes back to the economy. To me, there was something even scarier that I heard when it came to taxes, which is the unrealized taxes. Meaning, so let's say that you had money with Tesla right now.
Your
right?
property value went up.
And the projected gain
They
on
wanna tax
Tesla,
you on
they
that?
want to tax you on unrealized gains. We are projecting, Lorena, that if the market keeps going the way it's going, you're going to make X amount of dollars.
And if it doesn't,
then too bad. You're out.
I overpaid for no
You
reason.
overpaid. Listen, you're going to get a
That's
nice letter
crazy.
saying thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate
If
it.
all of these things, though, and so we run the risk right now, if this is so mismanaged between the economy, the current financial situation that we have going on, taxes going up. If this whole thing, we can very easily go back to the Carter years. You know what I mean? And I'm a guy who likes history. I promise you, that's not a movie you want to watch. You don't want to be in that one. And so
Isn't
our
he, like,
economy is
top-
strong,
the
resilient.
number one worst president in the.
Well, it depends. We had a few, but a couple of days. Depends on what.
He's like top five.
When it comes to
From,
the
like,
economy, when it comes to
everywhere you
economy,
look, he's like top
Yeah.
5.
when it comes to economy, yeah, you can
I don't
say
know about
that
number
that
one,
was.
sorry.
But listen, even Roosevelt himself, you know what I mean? That everybody says, well, that was a great president, took everybody out of the Great Depression. So many social programs came out of the whole New Deal that was put forward. That, by the way, they're still going. It's like a new program comes out, it's there forever. It's never taken away. They just keep adding things on top of other things. So at this
So we
point,
ended up at, like,
we have so
84.
many things overlapping that should be doing the same thing. But now you have an office for this department that deals with the office in that department, but they're both doing exactly the same. So how much money are we wasting at that level? Why don't we see how exactly we need to be taxing some of these politicians?
Because
that
we
are
don't
making
have a
choice?
CEO running the
Why
country.
is it that it doesn't apply the same rule? I mean, just investments, you know what I mean? When these guys have access to privileged information, the fact that they don't get arrested,
Insider trading.
like poor Martha
Martha
Stewart
Stewart.
had to do time.
That's the 19 crimes wine.
Okay.
I love it. It's a Chardonnay.
That's funny.
But just think about that for a second. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
what is it?
here's the person.
Pelosi's husband.
I mean, the guy is
Doesn't
a
it?
genius.
Yeah,
Or, I
no,
mean,
it's like-
how do you go from I was broke when I came into politics, and today I'm coming out of it $400 million richer, $600 million richer. You know what I mean? Even our good friend, Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
The guy never had a job. Never. I mean, never. Now he's cleaning up and being heavily criticized because the same system that he's trying to oppress
Write books again,
and is making him all kinds of money, right? Yeah. So listen, but I am concerned. When I look at these things because this is a crucial year, right? We're talking about crucial conversations because when the stakes are so high, right? Mm-hmm. When things are when you can literally be affected, your family. You're talking about potentially losing houses, cars being repoed, so many things that can absolutely go wrong. And you have people that are very casually talking about certain things that will affect somebody's kitchen table. Yeah. It's very scary.
Go make more money.
Yeah, that's
what I was going to go down to. Yeah. Any final recommendations other than stop paying attention to AI because you're not going to be able to sleep tonight?
Lorena just said it. Number one thing that I would encourage everybody to do is find a way to increase their income. Whether that means you get a side hustle, you get a different career, or just look into different things within your current career that can equal you making more money. I think that will be the biggest thing. Making more money, and then number two, you got to be aware of what's going on around you. I think people are too casual about being ignorant, about not knowing what's going on in too many different topics. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to not know.
You need to remove yourself from that room, and you need to go to another room.
100%.
You need to go to another time to go to another room.
Yes, I agree.
For me, I've been on this campaign of focus on the solution. Mm-hmm. Focus on the solution, not on the problem. If you focus on the problem, you become a victim of it, and it doesn't get you anywhere. But if you focus on the solution, at least your brain, your energy is creating something that's going to help you. So that's one. I'm going to say it for the zillionth time. Increase your level of skills. Yes. Be smart with your money, and make sure that additional income is always welcome. A side hustle might as well be a side business because with the way that taxes are going, a side job is just gonna be more taxes that you're gonna pay because you're actually increasing your your ordinary income, and then you get taxed on it. So that would be my recommendation. But future looks bright. Focus on the solution.
I would say, guys, that your bank account is always telling you a very clear story. And it's painting a very clear reality. Things that you can do for yourself, things that you can do for your family, things that you can do now, things that you can do for the future. I think that when I'm listening to all of these things, and some of them that almost sounds like a doomsday scenario, right? Yeah. The fact of the matter is that right now you still have some people making money no matter what. You still have people that know how to ride the way all the way up, and they know how to ride it when it's on the way down, and they know how to make money. Yeah. So that's when I bring it back from what's happening out there to what's going on in your kitchen table, what's going on in your living room, right? What are the conversations? What's actually happening there when it comes to how to, do I need to, like you're saying, do I really need to make a commitment to say, you know what, even if they like me at work, they're not going to give me any more money, right? And maybe in some cases the business doesn't even have the capability to do that, even if they wanted to. Lorena, we love you, but this is a tiny little hotel, dude. We only have X amount of people. I can only give you X. We only collect this much money. This is my even if you have an honest, open conversation, I'm willing to give you. There's only so much money to go around, especially because we constantly confusing this conversation about the big company, and we want this set of rules that goes to that big company to apply to the little guy.
Yeah.
And that puts small businesses out of business because they don't have the capability, they don't have the financial strength, and the expectation that I should be able to get the same kind of result is not a good idea. So I was having a conversation the other day with a young man, African American, and this whole idea that the narrative is the following, right? The whole neighborhood is not doing well. Things are not improving.
Move.
Right? And nobody's doing anything about it. Nobody's coming to bring any solutions. Nobody's coming to make a difference. You got to start saying, okay, what is the real reality here? And then if nobody's coming to rescue you,
You gotta
maybe
rescue
you
yourself.
just
Be
need to
part
make
of
a commitment to
an
rescue
active
yourself.
participant of your
Yeah,
rescue.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, because, guys, that was my reality, right? I had to say, I got to go somewhere else. What I want to do for my family is not going to happen here, and it's not going to happen this way. So I need to go somewhere else. So I have a hard time. I am the wrong guy for you to have a conversation about, well, things are not well here. Then go somewhere else. Go make it happen. This will be a phenomenal time when all of these conversations are taking place for everybody out there to really make an effort to say, yeah, maybe it is time. Maybe this will be a good time for me to new set of skills, retool myself, find a way to make sure. Maybe it is time to set up a little business, see how far I can take it.
The more you complain about the situation, the more power that you're giving to that situation and the victim you become of it. That's part of the book that we're reading, Power versus Force. It's about you saying, what about this am I responsible for? Because if I have the key, if I know what the problem is, I own the solution as well.
Sure.
And so, but it starts with personal responsibility, and it sucks, but it's the only thing that's gonna save you.
And guys, realistically speaking, it's a lot of fear for somebody. You know what I mean? Like the other day, again, there was just another person. So when you come across somebody who's super talented, right? And they've been doing the same job for 20 years, and then you ask, hey, did you ever thought about setting up your own little business somewhere? Like you really do this very well. Why not? Like, man, it's just I'm concerned about the job security. You know what I mean? It's like income. You know what I mean? It's like I get paid every so and so, and you go. But if you were doing it for yourself, how much money can you? Oh, it's almost 20 times what I'm making right now, and you don't see anything wrong with that, right? By the way,
until their job gets eliminated.
Fear, it's a real emotion that will hold you back, but I think that you can potentially take some baby steps, and at least start working in certain direction that will give you better choices, better results. So I kind of like that idea. But with that being said, guys. For everybody watching us, it is an invitation. It's an open invitation for you to start thinking about, can you do something different? Can you do something business-wise? Can you stop just depending on one group, one scenario? If you see some of this information, we actually want to issue it as a little bit of a challenge, right? Think about something you like. Think about some of the people that are going through a process of becoming a business person, or they're trying to do something that will be entrepreneurial. First of all, find out what they're doing, how they're doing it. Can you do it? You know what I mean? What would be? Is that something that you will like? It's a little bit of a challenge, right? And I would love to get some feedback on this one. Out of the many things that we have done, just to hear somebody saying, hey, you know what? Yes, I was thinking about it. Yes, I'm afraid. Hey, I'm comfortable. I don't know exactly what to do. I don't even know where to start. I like these things. I don't like these things. So, move it around. Hopefully, this is a video that you can
comment,
absolutely subscribe to the channel.
Tell us if you agree, if you don't agree.
And if you feel that it would be the right time for you, the only thing that I can tell you is that there's no such a thing as the right time. You just got to get going. You got to get started. And you got to jump in.
Yesterday.
With that being said, great seeing you guys.
Once.
What was the whole thing about? No. All right, we're gonna save it for the next one. You don't want to know. But
Google it.
Anyway, everybody, thank
Bye.
you. Good seeing you. Take it easy. Bye.